everyone. My name is Ryan Digman. Or good evening, President Costa, esteemed board members, Superintendent Massinelli, and all attendees that are gathered here today in support of our students with disabilities. First off, I didn't realize we're going to be here with our classified staff, which are so valuable to our children's education. I really want to say thank you for everything you do for our kids, because without you, our kids would not have an education. So can we give them a round of applause? We give our kids a voice. You know, Alex is our speech pathologist. We love her. Every single one of you are so valuable in our children's voice, and I hope it's as loud as ours. So thank you. Let's give a round of applause. So again, my name is Ryan Digman. I'm a proud parent. I'm a dad, right? And in the district and currently serving as the chair of our San Juan School District's Community Advisory Committee for Special Education. I can't say that I'm proud to be up here to share with you what I'm about to share with you, but I am proud to be part of this community of parents and families and children, and I'm proud to be a voice for them. The San Juan Unified School District Special Education Community Advisory Committee is a Board of Education approved committee comprising of parents, community members, and San Juan staff. The CAC collaborates closely to fully support all children with special needs, advising the district and the Board of Education on services for students with special needs. Our special education local plan areas are our California sub-grantees under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, or what we call IDEA. San Juan Unified operates as a single district SELPA, providing services to eligible students within its boundaries, including those attending charter schools. We currently have 7,000 children in the district receiving services. So times that by 2 parents, potentially, you know, that's 14,000, 21,000 people we could be representing, plus their families, friends, and everything else. That's a lot of people. Delivering a high quality special education experience requires a team effort. That includes all of us, with parent involvement and student input being pivotal in achieving individualized education program goals, or what we call the IEP. Parent collaboration through SELPA is facilitated by us, the Community Advisory Committee. I've served on it for over 3 years. I have not yet missed a meeting. It's a crucial element of effective special education programs in California, and it's actually mandated by law. We are required to be part of this district. We are required to be a voice of these district policies. Our CAC currently comprises of 17 members. Imagine that. That's a lot, right? Imagine getting 17 people to show up each meeting to make a quorum. We've done it. We've done it every meeting since we started in September, which is a huge accomplishment. We are comprised of two outstanding student leaders, which I'm very proud about, Caitlin Boyce and Luke Taylor. They're appointed by Superintendent Massinelli. And then we're parents of children with disabilities, and we also have a teacher and community representatives. We're all appointed by you and Mrs. Massinelli, and despite historical challenges in achieving quorum and community participation, we've hit it in all 6 meetings that we've had this year, and our next scheduled meeting is May 29th. These meetings have provided a platform for critical conversations addressing systematic issues and advocating for our students with disabilities. Historically, our children with disabilities are forgotten about in school policies, in school activities, in daily life. And our goal is to help provide guidance on the needs of our kids. The responsibilities of our CAC include advising on the development, amendment, and review of the local plan, recommending annual priorities, facilitating parent education, recruiting volunteers, promoting community involvement, supporting student activities, promoting attendance awareness, as well as engaging the community in the local and accountability plan parent advisory committee, or the LCAP. This year, we've had some significant changes in our group. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Avey and also Tanya for being our board liaison as well as our co-liaison this year. We've increased our membership this year to align appointments to represent the district's new trustee areas. Additionally, we transitioned our public meeting structure from the Brown Act to the Green Act and revised our bylaws. We now convene in this venue here today. We previously met at Kenneth Avenue. Furthermore, there has been changes in special education leadership with the appointment of a new interim director, Mr. Covello, in October, and recently the retirement announcement of Ms. Calvin, our former assistant W superintendent, who oversees the special education department. So with that, there's been a lot of challenges as well. The challenge that we've experienced is with the changes, we originally felt a loss of hope. We were wondering really what was gonna happen, with our committee, with our ideas, and with the direction of the special ed department. So we've been working with Mr. Covello over the last, several months to really try to, get a plan together. Historically, we have been vocal about the lack of vision for our kids. The district, all of us as parents have asked the district to provide their idea of what inclusion is, or their idea of what they believe the support should be for our kids with special needs. A lot of people often go silent in this question, and it should be a very easy question for our kids. Our CAC meetings over the past several years have been filled with a lot of emotions and tears from students and parents and family members when we talk about our kids' education. We have actively listened as a group to each other as well as the public. In these conversations, many different types of words come up, and I want to share with you what those words are. And these are words that are describing the experience in the system and our kids' education. Words that we're hearing include trauma, segregation, hopelessness, failure, sadness, bullying, gaslighting. You guys know what gaslighting is? Because we deal with it a lot as parents. And sadly, self-harm. These are all words that are being used to describe our children's educational experience in this district. These are terms that are being said in public meetings with district administrators and public officials present. These, words have brought out tears in these meetings. Do you think this sounds like equity? In addition, some common discussions that have come up repeatedly also include the following. The unacceptable communication strategies being used by district administrators to resolve issues and or deny services for students. This communication strategy is being perceived by parents that stand here behind me as a bullying tactic and is creating fear for students and families in their participation within the special education system. This includes the denial of services only to force families into mediation to resolve the issues privately through a process that includes a non-disclosure agreement. Is this equity?
Nope.
The district's inability to provide any clear vision of what inclusion and or universal design for learning is within the district boundaries. Is this equity? We have reports of students who are in the independent independent skill learning programs at schools who parents are reporting that they can't even eat lunch with their peers. Is this equity?
Mm-mm.
We have reports of children being denied services and supports in early childhood education programs such as Discovery Club and Bridges if they have a disability, because these programs are not part of the school day or they don't have the staffing levels to provide the service. Is this equity? We have reports of kids who are disabled not being able to access things such as field trips, because it takes a lot of work to put a kid that's in a wheelchair on a bus, or learn Shakespeare, or other educational opportunities that their peers are able to attend. Is this equity?
Absolutely not.
Unfortunately, we've had to work very hard to get here today. A lot of emails, a lot of meetings, a lot of just advocacy. It's taking a loud voice to get us here today. And is that equity? In addition, just want to provide you a glance of the work that we've done as a committee, and I'm very proud of the work that we have done. In September, we finalized our bylaws updates and held officer elections. In October, we were able to finally review the previous special education thought exchange, because we have been collecting 10 years of data that we're trying to analyze and try to provide solutions for. In that thought exchange, we discussed some of the themes that included caseloads and workloads, IA support and staffing, communication, and trust. The lack of trust in the district is a huge common theme, IEPs and collaboration. And also child safety, wages, compensation, we're supporting of all those efforts as well. In November, we welcomed 2 student members and began the overview of the Special Education Local Plan. We also created our subcommittees, which is You Light the Way, the Membership Outreach, Legislative Sharing Day, and the IEP Work Group, which I'll share about shortly. In March, we reviewed the Special Education Plan review, and then we talked about the budget, governance, and all those things. In April, we celebrated SEAC Month. We represented it as SEAC Month, which I was very proud about, because there are a lot of activities in the month of April, which included the You Light the Way Awards, where we recognized 6 individuals, some who are in the room today, and then as well as a whole team at one of the schools. And you know, the SEAC worked really hard on that committee in that month by basically working with 2 students from Laurel Rough as well as a teacher at Laurel Rough to film, interview, and edit this wonderful video for the first time using those kids. And we had 2 amazing co-presenters, my students over here, that helped us, you know, recognize these individuals in this community. They had a great time. We wanted to steal the mic. And then we, you know, worked really hard to facilitate an opportunity. That's the thing, right? We're facilitating opportunities, elevating student voice, participation, letting these children know in this program that they can be successful. Some of these 2 students that we use are graduating from the school system, right? You know, giving them an opportunity to participate in something that they never once seen, you know, was an amazing experience for us, and we hope to continue it forward. You know, lastly, our current local plan is being published right now for 30-day public period of comment. It's on our website, so anybody that wants to make a comment on that, they can go do that. But then, you know, there's a couple more things, because it's really some really important topics. And then I want to talk a bit about the IEP work group session, right? We recently held a IEP work group session in April, which allowed, well, April consisted of You Light the Way, we had an IEP listening session, we also had an IEP training that was sponsored by Warmline, which we helped encourage, and we also had our SEAC meeting. So every week we were doing something, and thank you to the special ed staff for working so hard, and FACE for putting all that together. In this work group that we had been discussing over the last several months, multiple parents of the true issues that are being experienced in this process. This is the process that we see continuously as creating the most trauma for our kids, okay? In this process, we have reports from students stating that because of how these IEP team members, right, because remember we're all a team, are talking to them, they want to self-harm. They are saying in public meetings that they want to commit self-harm because of how these individuals are making them feel in this process. It's really happening, as far as it's saying. Horrible. I can't even explain that, right? So this team dynamic doesn't exist in the IEP process, and so we've really been forcing conversations about this. So, sorry, my son. And then in this process, we've had a number of things. So we were asked 3 questions in this process, like what was the district doing well? We couldn't really say much. What was the district doing not well? We said a lot. One of the well things was that we do have dedicated teachers that are really facilitating some great things and really want to do help. But what was often coming up was that they were being stopped by district administrators at an administrative level from really allowing our kids to be successful, okay? So we talked a lot about the common themes of these conversations, such as parents not knowing the magic words, so appropriate services are not being offered or accessed. We talked about the silos within the school district, meaning that each site has different opportunities for kids. And, you know, certain principals are denying services, and then, you know, other school sites are offering that service, okay? It's a huge problem, and is that equity? No. You know, we also have reports of the special education administrators being placed in IEP meetings to deal with difficult parents and to help create barriers for students. You know, this was mentioned for Ralph Richardson Center, you know, and that administrator, and as well as other administrators popping into different meetings to create basically trauma for these families and these students. We talked a lot about policies and the lack of. The district is lacking policies that really are driving these denials. They're telling us that they're denying these services, and then they're throwing us into a letter stating all these policies, but no one's willing to offer us what those policies are or let us know where they are located. And at times we have to do a public records request in order to get any information regarding this information. Is that equity? Also a common theme, I'm glad we're here today, is secondary education is failing. Our kids are not meaning that junior high and the high school process is horrific. Like, if you've ever sat on an IEP meeting where these kids are preparing to enter into the next stage of their life, the teachers are not showing up, they're not providing any bit of status reports or any bit of information to ensure that these kids are successful. They're not providing resources or tools like the Department of Rehabilitation or even access to different tools at the local college level, right? They're assuming either that they want a high school certificate of completion or they want and they don't want a high school diploma. And they're not really focusing on making our kids successful. And we're hearing traumatic stories every day about the trauma that's being experienced at that level. Imagine your parents going into a high school class and trying to advocate for you at 16, 17, 18 years old, right? By that time, these kids really need a focus, right? The whole system has developed, has crumbled on them. They're feeling hopelessness, they're feeling sad, they're not able to, determine what their next steps are. Is that equity?
Nope.
So, we've been consistently talking about how we are lacking in the strategic plan. We're not mentioning anywhere parents. We had a whole group of parents, 20 plus, that were saying this strategic plan currently does not speak to us. These equity statements do not speak to us. We need to start speaking more of our kids with disabilities. We are consistently working to ensure that our kids have a voice and that our kids have the rights that they deserve because they are civil rights. We are consistently having to go to bat, or consistently being dismissed because of our loud voice. The thing is, we have a loud voice, but we are now turning from angry to action, okay? With that being said, we need to stop putting Band-Aids on all of this. We need to do surgical repair. Our system needs a complete overhaul, and I know we're working towards that. We have had some huge changes occurring. I know we've been talking to Amy, we've talked to Dominic, we've been talking to Mrs. Bassinelli, we've been talking to everybody to really say, okay, this is the time, this is the fork in the road. We cannot be left out of the strategic plan. We cannot be left out of these policies. We cannot have kids want to self-harm themselves because an adult is telling them that they aren't going to be successful. That they're talking to them in a poor way. We have to create safety. We have to create a system that is appropriate for these kids, that is going to help push them to success. We need to be creating more partnerships within our community to ensure that these kids have an opportunity to go to college or to go to that next step. The amount of effort that we've noticed that is being put on things such as rapid learner process, rapid learner school. If you look at the rapid learner programs at the schools, they're wonderful. I would love to go there. But at the same time, you look at Ralph Richardson, where that school is the only school that these kids can go to because they feel the most safe, and these teachers are amazing. Their bathrooms aren't even up to code, and their ADA requirements aren't even meeting standards. And we have teachers that are advocating at facilities meetings to ensure that these kids are safe. Is that equity? So these are the recommendations we're going to talk about, and then we'll conclude. So the recommendations that we want to kind of go through is that the district needs to adopt a vision that can be shared publicly and proudly regarding what inclusion for our children with disabilities is, and use parent and student input to develop that vision. We need to make sure our students and our concerns are truly represented in all layers of our system, such as the LCAP and strategic plan, and other discussions within any program within our district. We are not visible in these current plans. I believe as of today we are. District adoption and standardized use of tools like high quality IEPs and CDE supportive inclusive practices for consistent staff training and effective family engagement. Our documents on our website for these tools are not even up to date. There's so many the links are broken. We're not even listed on the CDE website appropriately. The tools that we're using and giving to parents are not working. so we have to revamp those immediately. We need to increase our partnership with available resources for support for students with disabilities. We have to work with Department of Rehabilitation. We need to start working with building with Warmline. We need to start working more with UC Davis Mind Institute and the Disability Rights of California. We must utilize these resources to help create a successful path forward for our kids. Also like ARC has the disability services and programs for students. We need to be linking them up immediately. We need to include data from CAC and future department, local and strategic planning to ensure representation of needs from our disability communities are included. We need to increase our family education opportunities and community events for families of students. We are working on that. We need to review of inconsistent program language and policies causing confusion within the IEP process. Immediate action. The district needs to relook at the dispute resolution process for IEPs to help ensure that trauma isn't being inflicted on families.
Yep.
Training at all levels of our system on disability culture, ableism, and acceptance and inclusion must start now. I know that there's many teachers in here right now that want that training that they need to be successful. In order to create an inclusive district, we have to provide that training immediately. I'm not sure how to do that, but we have to do it, so how can we get there? Also, this item I'd like to request, we would like the board to request data on the number of IEP denials that go into mediation only to settle for the same services that were originally requested but now are being granted outside services. Why are they fighting with us? We are in a trauma mode. We are working hard to ensure our kid gets the service that they need, and if you don't have a child with disabilities, you will not understand that. Why is it such a fight? They push us into mediation by handing us letters after they silently and proudly fake talk to us in a way that they believe that we're supportive, and then we get email saying these services are denied. Now go into mediation. We have to spend money for advocates in order to just have our voice. Why is it so difficult? Is that equity? No. This system is not equitable. It's broken. And we are demanding fixes, and we are providing that advice. And I'm thankful for the ears that have been listening up until this point, but it's taken a lot, And with that, I would be happy to answer any questions you might have, but we need immediate action. And you're about to hear about the stories. We can't stop here. We would love to work with the district over the course of the summer. We have to start preparing for the next step. This does not stop here, and we will show up again and again and again until we have a system that is supporting our kids. So with that, thank you, and I appreciate any comments or questions that you may have.
Questions from the board?
Thank you, Mr. Digman, for your report. As Ms. Kravchak said earlier, I appreciate your honesty. It's hard to hear, really hard to hear, but I appreciate your honesty. For me, it also highlights the value of having parent committees, board-appointed parent committees, because I do think it offers us the opportunity to hear a different perspective on the experience of students, a very important perspective. Having been the liaison to the committee, I can say the parents, they bring their full selves to the meetings in advocating for their students, raising up the issues, and I hope in some small measure we have started to build a path to partnership, to build a path to trust. I don't expect us to have the trust. I don't expect us for parents to truly feel like partners, but I do hope we're on that path, because ultimately I think the only way we are going to find solutions, long-term solutions that are going to change the lives of our students is through that partnership. And I think part of that is honest conversation. So I'm grateful for you being here today. You know my commitment to this issue. I'll continue to be there. So thank you again for the presentation.
Thank you.
Ryan, thank you for showing up, like always. from the many conversations that you and I have had, and then for anyone who hasn't had a conversation with you today, your passion comes forward. You can see that, and I appreciate it because I'm sure it must be exhausting to continue to bring that.
Yep.
And from the last committee meeting that I attended, there was a member there who said, actually wrote it down, she said, you know, we're not only special needs parents, we have to be case managers to our children and help them to navigate and advocate for them for the rest of their lives. And I sat there and I thought about it. And it was pretty heavy for me to understand that because, you know, as children gain more autonomy, parents get more independence. And there are many parents in our school district who don't have more independence. And because they're consistently having to work with their children, to be their case manager, to be their caretaker, but also to go out and case manage and advocate and do all the things that you guys are doing, and it's exhausting. And I just appreciate all of you for coming up today. I know you guys haven't spoken yet, but I just, as a parent, just want to say that I feel you. It is so hard sometimes, and I just can't imagine the load that and so just thank you. Thank you for your advocacy. As Mr. Avey said, we are committed to improving. We don't have any easy or fast answers, but I am committed to just your world, your life, your walk that you are daily walking. One thing I do ask of you is that you provided a few action steps that we can take as a district. Do you happen to have that noted in format? I was taking notes, but I don't think I found everything.
Yep.
If you could provide that, that would be wonderful for us to be able to reflect and review with the rest of the board.
Absolutely. And then lastly, I just want to have Luke Taylor, he just wanted to add to one more item I forgot. Just can you repeat? Sorry.
My name is Luke Taylor. As a member of the CAC, I am speaking for students of special needs. When we hear staff talk bad about us, it makes us think that we don't have the right to get a good education. We want a safe place for students to be calm while they are having an IEP about them. Thank you and good night.
Good job, Luke.
Your input has been extremely valuable for us, and we want to